Hey guys, Zero here. I was kind of going through my room the other day and I saw my boxes of comic books and trade paperbacks, and I kind of just wanted to kind of show like what I have. Not everything, but just like to give you an idea of like some of the stuff that I'm into. Um, I have two main boxes. One of them's all trade paperbacks, the other one's all individual comics. And then this stuff is just mostly trade paperbacks that I've gotten more recently that like don't really fit in these boxes. This box is actually so full I can't even close the top of it, and it actually burst on the side and I had to retape it. So definitely have a lot of books. I don't have a lot of space in my apartment for doing stuff like this. So I'm in my bedroom, like on my bed, so excuse the mess of like controllers and other stuff you might see in the background. But hopefully you can hear me. There is a fan directly to my left because it's like 80 something degrees today. And I also just got done cleaning, so I'm very hot. But so let's start with the stuff that's my most recent purchases that are not really in any sort of order. But these are, so like these two, I guess you'd call them trade paperbacks. They're kind of like a weird feeling paper. Like they're not glossy or anything like the Sonic one is. They're kind of this like dry, rough like texture, which is weird. But they're kind of a weird size too. They're like a little bit small, like smaller than a regular comic. As far as I know, there's only 2 volumes out of this particular series, which is like a more recent Sabrina the Teenage Witch series. There's obviously like the really old like Archie version, and then there's this version, and then I think there's one that's based on the chilling adventures of Sabrina from like the TV show. I forget if that was on like Netflix or where I saw that. So yeah, there's only 2 volumes. I really like the style they used for this version. It's kind of like an updated version of like the Archie, because she's still got like the whitish blonde hair and the black hair band. So yeah, there's 2 volumes. I don't know if they're numbered or if they just have names, but they definitely have names. Yeah, so this one I think is just called Sabrina the Teenage Witch, and this one's called Something Wicked. And we're both by the same person. So I used to have a whole bunch of the Sonic the Hedgehog trade paperbacks. I used to collect, when I was a really little kid, the Archie comics, but those ended like ages ago. So when they rebooted it and it got switched over to IDW, I kind of wanted to like catch up on that. But now I really only have a couple of them. They're like the ones that had like important stuff to me that kind of stood out that I wanted. So this one I got specifically because of this character. I honestly don't even remember their name right now, but I like a lot of the new characters that have been established in the IDW comics. I don't have the other book right here, so it's probably either buried in this pile or it's in the trade paper book box. But I do have another Sonic IDW book, and I will show you that one in a bit. So this one is I Kill Giants. They made this into a movie, but it's just kind of a cool book about a girl with, well, they don't tell you in the beginning whether or not it's like her imagination or whether or not she's really like fighting giants. But it's a cool little book. It's actually, I say little, but it's actually extremely heavy for a trade paperback. It's a little bit thicker than most, and pretty like soft and flexible, but like really heavy for some reason. So Life is Strange is one of my favorite game series of all time. I have every game on multiple systems actually. So I do collect the comics. This is so there's comics and then there's novels. I don't have the novels, but I do have the comics. So this one is Forget Me Not, which is based on True Colors. So you got characters like Alex and Steph. So that one's cool. I really like that one because True Colors is like one of my favorite entries in the series, even though most other people don't like it. And then I also got, I haven't even read these yet. They're still sealed together with the, there's like a plastic thing over them. But I got all the volumes of Life is Strange, just like the series in general. These are based on the first game. There's 6 volumes and they all have a different name, and I have all 6 of them. So this is actually not, yes, this is a trade paperback. It's just a very thin one. So this was just the introduction of this version of Captain Marvel. I don't even remember what they're called off the top of my head right now, but I do have their Funko Pop also. But yeah, it's I don't even know if this is like volume 1 of Captain Marvel or if this happened later in the series, because they don't have numbers. They usually just have like names, like different titles. And this one's just called The Last Avenger. This is a super duper hardcover collection of the Eastman and Laird Ninja Turtles IDW reboot version. And I particularly wanted volume 3. There's like 12 volumes or something crazy like that, but they collect literally all the comics that have come out. But I wanted volume 3 because this one has the arc that focuses on Dark Leo, which is, I just passed him, but yeah, Dark Leo is when he got like brainwashed and turned over to Shredder's side, and he just like was awesome during that like era. So I have a figure actually right to my right now on my shelf of Dark Leo, and I also have his Funko Pop. So that's why I bought this particular collector's volume. So with those out of the way, get into some, let's see, those are the individual comics, so we'll do the trade paperbacks. Okay. So this one, so one of my favorite characters is Spider-Gwen, or now as they call her, Ghost Spider, which is really stupid. So this is a collection of when she got combined with Venom. So it's like she was called Gwenom during that phase. So definitely had to get the trade paperback that collects all the issues that happened in. And then I got this one, since I love Spider-Gwen. This is basically when all the Spider-Gwens from all the different universes came together. They did something similar a long time ago with all the different Spider-Men back in like the 90s cartoon, and then they also, that was also kind of like a similar premise to the Into the Spider-Verse movie. But like, so these are all different like incarnations of Spider-Gwen. So this one's called Gwenverse. It's a thinner one, but it collects all those volumes. Couple things here. We got this particular trade paperback, the Parker Luck. I believe I got this one because I think it's the first appearance of Silk. And Silk is another one of my favorite characters. So I have the trade paperback for this. And then one common theme you'll kind of notice, like I collect the trade paperbacks, but then I also try to get like the individual issue where the character is introduced. So like I kind of end up having the same story twice, because yeah, you'll see. So this is just a collection of Silk stories. It's called The Life and Times of Cindy Moon, who's obviously Silk. And like they always tell you on the back like what volumes it collects. So yeah, definitely like Spider-Gwen, definitely like Silk. You're gonna see a trend here. So this is when Mary Jane became Carnage, which was a more recent thing that was kind of awesome. And it also, she ends up fighting Gwenom. So it's like, this was a must buy for me because it's like a double whammy. Because it's got my Gwenom and then it's got Carnage, who I love. I actually have a Carnage tattoo on my arm. He's my favorite character by far. So had to get this one. And then this is a collection. So they call it Red Goblin, which is what it is. It's the story of Peter Parker's friend who ends up, I don't remember if it's, God, it's been so long. I don't remember if it's Harry Osborn or if it's Norman Osborn. But in this version, instead of becoming like Hobgoblin or Green Goblin, he gets more of like a Carnage-y vibe. So he becomes Red Goblin. So that's, I think I have the first issue where that happens, but then I also have this, which is the trade paperback for it. And then, so the next couple of these are kind of not as, like, ones that I don't care about as much. So I do, like, back when I was watching the CW shows for the first time and I was watching Arrow, there's, like, so many different Arrow characters. There's, like, the show's just called Arrow, but he's Green Arrow, and then there's, like, Red Arrow, and he has sidekicks, like, throughout his, time, and there's, like, Speedy, and there's, like, Red Hood, and all these other characters, but it's kind of like a Nightwing situation, or, like, a Robin situation, where it's, like, it's not always the same person. It's, like, the name, the character name stays the same, but who is dressed up as that character, like, changes as they, like, get older, or as, like, they die or whatever and get replaced. So Arsenal is one of the characters that I like, who's kind of more in, like, the Red Hood universe. And I don't actually like Red Hood at all. I in the Batman universe, like, Red Hood is, like, not one of my favorite characters. I played Gotham Knights when that came out, and I spent the whole game pretty much playing as either Nightwing or Batgirl. But I don't like Red Hood at all. But in Red Hood's gang, he's got Arsenal. And Arsenal is basically like, he wears a lot of red, and he wears a red mask, and he shoots arrows, but he always wears this, like, hat with, like, a raccoon on it. I cosplayed as him once for, like, a con. So I got a couple of different, like, Red Hood and Arsenal trade paperbacks just so that I would have some stuff with Arsenal in it. So, like, here's another one. And I think I even have a couple more, but those might be later. So this one is Spider Women, which is Silk, Spider-Gwen, and Spider-Woman, which are 3 of my favorite characters. I'm really pissed off because originally they were supposed to be a movie that was called, like, Spider-Woman, and it was supposed to have these 3 characters in it. They ended up kind of scrapping that movie, and that's what turned into, like, Madam Web, and that ended up being, like, one of the worst movies of all time. So that sucks. I also heard that they were going to be making, like, a Silk standalone movie, but, like, it's been 4 or 5 years since I heard that rumor, and, like, nothing has come from it, so that sucks. But 3 of my favorite characters all in one place, so had to get that one. Suicide Squad. This was part of the New 52, which I was collecting back in the day. I didn't really like this version of Harley Quinn. She strayed a little bit too far from the traditional Harley Quinn. I mean, I know there's so many different versions nowadays between, like, the Suicide Squad movies. You got, like, the live action version, and then you have, like, the original animated, like, Batman the Animated Series version, which was more of, like, an actual, like, Harlequin jester type character. I don't know. I just don't like the style of this one. The colors I don't mind, but I just don't like the overall like appearance. But I grabbed this anyway just because it was Suicide Squad New 52, and I like Harley Quinn. This one is Titans, not Teen Titans, but like Titans, so it's like the adult versions. I like Batman. I like Flash. I like Nightwing, and I like specifically the Red Lantern Corps. So this was just kind of like I like most of them. I'll grab that one. I don't know if I have more Titans than just that. Yes, I think I do. I think actually that's what's coming up next. Yes, okay, so here we have some more. So this is actually volume 1. That was actually volume 2. Okay, so like I was saying before with how I don't really like Red Hood, but I do like the people that he's like with in his team. You got Starfire and you got Arsenal. So this is called Red Hood and the Outlaws, which is different than the Red Hood and Arsenal. That was a separate series. Similar, but New 52. And then, so this is Robin, trade paperback. There have been so many different iterations of Robin. It's like insane. You have like the really, really, really old one that was kind of looked like the one from the like original Batman TV show from like the 60s or 70s or whenever it was, who wore like the green and yellow suit with the mask. Then you have like he's been portrayed by so many different people. Like at one point it was, so Tim Drake is my favorite Robin. Then you also had like Damian Wayne at one point was like Robin. At one point you had like Nightwing before he became Nightwing, he was Robin. I don't know, like a bunch of the Robins have like died or like grown up and then became Nightwing, and it's been like a cycle. But this was my favorite version of like the Robin comic, because they I don't know if they call them like series or volumes. I always get it mixed up. But like, so like they'll run like, let's say Spider-Man for like a couple hundred issues for like years, like like a decade or whatever, and then they'll either kill the character off or like want to do a reboot. So then they'll start over again with issue 1, and it'll be called a new volume or like a new series. So this was, I think, like the second or third volume of Robin, and this isn't every issue, but it's like the Lazarus Tournament, so it's like a bunch of issues from that volume or series. So yeah, in the back it says collecting Robin 1 through 6 and some other stuff. But I like this version of Robin. Not exactly the best like depiction of him on the cover, but I do like his outfit, and I do like the character. Then I don't really love Gwenpool, but for a little while I was collecting some Gwenpool stuff just because it's technically Spider-Gwen mixed with Deadpool. So like I'm not like a huge Deadpool fan. Like I like him, but it was more the fact that it was like half Spider-Gwen. So I have the Gwenpool volume 1 is called Believe It. And we still have so much more to go, and this video is already at like 20 minutes. Okay. Okay, so sometimes I will, if I like a particular character or a particular story arc, I'll just get one random volume that has that from a series. So I do love Supergirl, and I want to collect Supergirl, but for the time being, I grabbed this volume, which is volume 5 of the Supergirl series, of this particular run of it, the New 52 version. And I got it because not only do I love Supergirl, but I love the Red Lantern Corps. So this is where she gets taken over by Red Lantern Corps. So this is actually still sealed. I've never even like opened it, but I definitely had to have this. It's a very thick volume too. And then this is Supergirl. So just like I was saying earlier, they do like a couple hundred issues or whatever, and then they like scrap it and reboot it. So I think this was the second version of Supergirl. I liked this particular run, so I got this really super thick version. This is volume 1, Girl of Steel. I think there's like 5 or 6 different volumes in this set, but I only got the first one because I don't know, I wanted to have something from it. Like I said earlier, Nightwing's one of my favorite characters. I do like him better in the New 52 because they changed his outfit to red instead of blue. I do like the blue outfit, but I do prefer the red one a little bit more. So I think I have a couple of different volumes from this set. I don't think I managed to end up collecting all of them. So I have, okay, that's volume 5, volume 4, volume 3, so we're going in reverse order here. Volume 1, so far I'm just missing 2 unless I have it in the box. And then I think there's like a volume 6 also. Okay, so yeah, I do not have that. So so this is Flash. I do like Flash. At the time I was watching the Flash show on the CW, so I grabbed this, which is just volume 1, Move Forward. Again, New 52 was something I was really into and collecting at the time. I also like Teen Titans. I liked the TV show, and I just like the characters that are in Teen Titans in general. So, yeah, and I liked this version of Red Robin. So this is New 52, Teen Titans, and this is just volume 1, It's Our Right to Fight. So, gotta have that. Oh my gosh, we're still not even done. I'm pulling out the last ones right now. This is the last of the trade paperbacks. So this is just, again, New 52 Teen Titans, volume, what does that say, 4? Yeah, volume 4, Light and Dark. I don't know if I, like, specifically got this one because, like, I wanted it, or if I was trying to get them all, and I think they were just out of stock. Because when I was getting the New 52 ones, I was buying them from like Barnes & Noble, so I think they were just out of the volumes that I didn't end up getting. But this is New 52 Red Lanterns, volume 1, Blood and Rage. So there's like 7 volumes I think in this one, but I just grabbed the first one so I'd at least have something from Red Lanterns. So yeah. And that, I think, is all of my trade paperbacks, unless I'm missing something somewhere. So then, when it comes to individual issues, I will not go through all of these because this video is already over 20 minutes, but I will do kind of a quick rundown. This is the first issue of Teen Titans. It's the first appearance ever of Red X, who, kind of like how Harley Quinn was actually first introduced not in the comics but in the animated TV show, Red X was introduced in Teen Titans, the TV show. So this was the first issue that actually had Red X in it. So Teen Titans number 1, and it's from the saga called Future State. It's a little bit hard to see because it's like they put it in like bubble wrap, which is kind of weird, instead of just plastic. But this is Spider-Gwen, Ghost Spider, Carnageized. So again, 2 of my favorite characters, Carnage and Spider-Gwen, combined. Anytime 2 characters combine, like Gwenpool, Carnage and Spider-Gwen, Gwenom, all, like anything like that, I have to have. So that's that. I don't remember if there's a trade paperback for that yet. This is 2 of the issues 26 and 27 were part of the Spider-Gwen saga where she became Gwenom. So I've had those 2 issues. I think there's a couple more issues in that saga, but I only have 2 of them. I just bought those at like a random comic shop. These I got when I was a little kid, and I've just held on to them. I just have some random issues of Gen 13, which was an old series by Image Comics. I think these are the only comics I have from Image. Can't really think of any other series because I don't collect like Spawn or anything like that. So just a random assortment. I don't even think it's like 1 through 20 or anything like that. I think it's just random issues that I was able to snag. I have some stuff from Free Comic Book Day. So Adventure Time, My Hero Academia. These aren't worth anything. These are just cheap, flimsy, crappy freebies. Is that a Pokemon comic or is that the advertisement? Yeah, it's a Pokemon comic. There was an Overwatch comic, Invader Zim, Spider-Man. Yeah, so this was all just free stuff. So that was Free Comic Book Day. So another one of my favorite crossover characters is Arachnite, because they did this saga called Infinity Warps, and I collected the Funko Pops for those, where they would take two different superheroes and like cross them together. So Arachnite is basically Moon Knight and Spider-Man, and I just fucking love the way that he looks with the red and the white. I have his Funko Pop, obviously. I think 2 of them, because there's a standard one and then there was like a con exclusive one that was more expensive and harder to get. So I have a couple issues of Arachnite from Infinity Wars. The other one must be in the box still, I think. This is just a random issue of New 52 Nightwing. It's issue 0. And then let's see what else we got in here. So a lot of this stuff is just going to be random. So like Teen Titans, just random. Batman number 0, I had a lot of zeros I was collecting. Batman New 52, Teen Titans New 52. So you'll recognize this because this is the same picture that was on that trade paperback. So this is just the first issue from that saga. So like I said, I do have like doubles of some stuff because I have the individuals and then I also have the trade paperbacks. This was just a random Nightwing that I got, but this was when he was in the blue costume. So this is, like you saw the trade paperback for Red Goblin. This is when Red Goblin started in the comics. This was Amazing Spider-Man number 799. And this is actually part 3, so I don't even think that's the... I think this might be the first issue that actually had him in it, but the story started like before that. Another random Arachnite issue. So we have more characters that have been carnageized. This is Black Cat, who's another one of my favorite characters. I think she's so much better than the DC counterpart, which would be Catwoman. Marvel Black Cat, I like her way better. So her carnageized, had to get that, obviously. This is just another random issue of Nightwing, New 52. Johnny the Homicidal Maniac. I have all the issues of that. So if you're into Invader Zim and Jonan Vasquez, then you gotta have Johnny. I went for the individual issues on this and not the trade paperback because everyone knows that the trade paperback is notorious for falling apart, like the pages just come unglued. Plus I liked having the full covers in color because that's not something you get in the trade paperback, because the colors on these covers are just like gorgeous. You have a lot of these like pinks and purples and like this teal, like these are all like my favorite colors, so like had to have these covers. They're so creepy, so cool. So you got your Johnny the Homicidal Maniac there. And then honestly the rest of the stuff that's in the bag is I think just some, I don't even know why this stuff's in a bag. I think maybe I bought something from a comic book shop and they gave me a bag or whatever and I just never... Yeah, a lot of the stuff in there is like just individual issues and Free Comic Book Day stuff. This is the other trade paperback I was looking for. Sonic the Hedgehog Tingle and Whisper. 2 of the new characters that were introduced in the IDW version of Sonic. And I absolutely love them. They're 2 of my favorite recent characters. So I'm glad that they got their own like little spin-off book. It's a trade paperback collecting I think all of the volumes that they were in. They had a little spin-off side series, but it was only a couple issues long, so they made it into a trade paperback. I mean, the characters themselves are in regular issues of Sonic, but like they had their own like spin-off series, so this is just the trade paperback that collects those. There's also a character called Trip, who I really like, but she, as far as I know, hasn't been in the comics yet, or if she has, it hasn't been like a lot. But she was first introduced in the recent game, came out like maybe last year or the year before, Sonic Superstars. And Trip, you don't like know who she is at first because she's got like a robot helmet on, but then when you beat the game, you get this like side chapter where you get to play as her and find out who she is. And she's actually a sun gazer, which is like a kind of lizard. But yeah, I don't have a picture of her or anything because I don't think that they've made any comics of her to my knowledge. So that should really go in the trade paperback pile. And then all this stuff down here is just issues of Sonic. So yeah, issue 201, 202. I was collecting it for a while. I didn't have like a subscription or anything. I was just going to the store and like buying each issue like as they came out. So I have 201 to 206, 207, 208, and then I got to like 210, and then I just gave up at that point. I wasn't really like a fan of the direction that the artwork was going. But yeah, that was like the reboot of, or I don't even think that was the reboot. I think that was like the original run of Archie got up to in the 200s. But they had changed artists so many times that like I didn't really like the art style that they were going with, so I kind of just gave up on it. But yeah, that ended up being a ridiculously long, over 30-minute video of that's only some of the stuff I have. I probably have more shit like over on my bookshelf in like boxes or whatever, but for the most part that's like a general idea of my collection, so you have a pretty good idea, like pretty good feeling of like what I'm into. But yeah, that's gonna do it. Didn't expect this video to take twice as long as I thought it would, but just kind of wanted to show off some of my stuff, some of my collection. So until the next video, which I'm not sure what that'll be. I'm always doing random shit. Obviously when there's like new hardware, new Nintendo stuff, like I always unbox it. But I also do stuff like this, comic books and Funko Pops and anime and all sorts of like random shit. So until the next video, I will see you guys later.